Hey there, Rubbed Up Subs, it's Blackmetalwerewolf making a brand new video for you this week. And today we are going to be discussing an article. A few days ago, a fan of mine sent me an article posted by Blackmetalwerewolf.net on April 5th. So I sat down, I read the article, and I thought it was pretty interesting, even though I thought there was quite a bit of it that should be up for debate and discussion. So that's what we're going to be doing today. The article I'm talking about is called Young Heavy Metal Fans Are at an Increased Risk of Suicide, Self-Harm, Study Finds. Before I really get into the discussion part, I just want to say that I'm not going to sit here and read you the entire article. For those of you who do want to check out the entire article, I'll be putting a link in the description so you can go to blabbermouth.net and read it for yourself. So when I first started reading this article, I immediately jumped to some conclusions. I assumed this was going to be some article about how people who listen to heavy metal are driven to self-harm and suicide because the music told them to do so. But thankfully that article has nothing to do with that, and at no point do they even imply anything like that. Essentially the whole point of the article is saying that young kids who listen to heavy metal are essentially a part of the heavy metal subculture, which therefore makes them a bigger target for bullies, and when someone is constantly bullied and all that kind of jazz, it can lead to thoughts or actions of self-harm and suicide. Now, when I first read that, I put it into an equation in my head, and it added up like this. Kids plus heavy metal plus bullies equals self-harm. Now, the more I thought about it, the more I realized you can literally take heavy metal right out of that equation and throw it away, and that equation still works and you still get the same outcome. Kids plus bullies equals self-harm and suicide. Really, because no matter what, regardless of someone's musical taste or what culture they're a part of, if you can take all of the X factors out of that equation and you just have people who are subjected to bullying, harassment, abuse, whatever you want to call it, on a near daily basis can have suicidal thoughts or actions. To me, that makes a hell of a lot more sense opposed to putting the metal tag onto it. Now, don't get me wrong. I was a metalhead throughout high school, and I got bullied a lot. But keep in mind, when I was younger, I didn't look like this. I didn't have the long hair, I didn't wear the band t-shirts or anything like that. I was bullied because the people who bullied me just didn't fucking like me. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are plenty of kids out there who are victimized simply because they listen to heavy metal by bullies. But I am willing to bet that there are an awful lot of people out there who are going to get bullied anyway because the bully who doesn't like them was just going to target them anyway just because they didn't like them. I'm definitely not saying that people don't get harassed because they like heavy metal, because it does happen. I just think when you really break it down, it comes down to people who are subjected to a lot of abuse and harassment on a daily basis will have the same outcome regardless of their taste in music. Now in the article, they did throw out some interesting statistics that I would like to discuss. So I'll read from the article. Findings indicated that there were small positive associations between preference for heavy metal music and increased self-harm, namely a suicidal ideation, past suicidal ideation, and suicide risk, including attempted suicide and suicidal ideations. Furthermore, a higher percentage of heavy metal fans, 31 to 74%, reported suicidal thoughts in comparison to non-fans, 14 to 35%. Now, in that, there were some keywords that I would like to kind of acknowledge here. First of all is the word reported. Just because someone doesn't report it doesn't mean that it's not there. For example, it said that more heavy metal fans reported suicidal thoughts, whereas non-fans didn't report it. That to me means absolutely nothing. Because, okay, so someone didn't report it. That doesn't mean the thoughts aren't there. That just means they aren't reporting it. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized is that Let's face it, a lot of heavy metal deals with a lot of dark subject matter. And the more you're exposed to dark subject matter, the more comfortable you become with it. So, for example, if you're accustomed to things like murder, suicide, all these things, you become accustomed to it, you don't think it's that big of a deal to talk about. So someone who is exposed to this kind of dark material really has no problem expressing their dark thoughts. So therefore, yes, they will have less of a problem discussing if they have had a suicide attempt or suicidal thoughts. Or someone who is not exposed to that might be sheltered and thinking that it's not alright to discuss those things. So that could explain for increased statistics between heavy metal fans and non-heavy metal fans. Now, the final thing that I would like to discuss about this study is what I feel is borderline cherry-picking data. Now, the right way to conduct a scientific study is to observe something and then draw conclusions based on what you observed. The wrong way to conduct a scientific study is to go in with a preconceived notion and then cherry pick data here and there that proves your preconceived notion and ignore everything else. That is the wrong way to do it. Now in this article, they flat out say that they only focused on alternative subcultures, as in heavy metal, punk, alternative rock. Well, of course you're going to find issues with them when you only focus on them. I don't feel that this study was broad enough to actually say that yes, this is indeed what's going on, because you intentionally went out of your way to only focus on these ones instead of doing a big study of several and then focusing and then narrowing it down to the specific ones. Also in the article, I would like to mention is the people who participated in the study, and I'd like to quote, "The findings across several studies that participants who identified with alternative subcultures through self-identification or music preference also had experiences of adversity, including bullying or victimization, difficult family relationships, and prior emotional and or behavior difficulties." So the people who took a part in these studies already had previous issues. So to me, that kind of discredits a lot of what they're saying here. You're saying the people that we studied already had issues, therefore it's heavy metal's fault. Like I said at the very beginning of the article, when you take heavy metal out of this equation, you still get the same outcome. Now I would like to get your guys' opinion on this. I highly suggest everyone who watches this video goes to the link and reads the article yourself and then form your own opinion on it and tell me what you thought about it. I've already spoken my mind about it, now I'd like to get your guys' thoughts on it. Do you agree with me? Do you not agree with me? Do you agree with the article? Do you not agree with it? Please leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of this whole thing. Now, like my past videos, I either do an album recommendation or an album warning, and I can't remember if I recommended one in the past or not, but I'll do it again anyway just in case I did. And that is 3 Inches of Blood, Long Live Heavy Metal. 3 Inches of Blood is a great Canadian heavy metal band, and this album is just badass from beginning to end, so I highly suggest that you guys check it out. So that's it for today's video. If you like what you saw, don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of today's video. Check out some of my past videos, and while you're at it, share it with a few of your friends. If you want to keep up with me on a more daily basis, you can follow me on Facebook and on Instagram. I also have a P.O. box open. All that info is down in the description. I have a handful of the Halloween patches left, so if you'd like to get your very own, just click right over here. There's also a link down in the description. Overall, thank you very much for watching, guys, and don't forget to stay brutal.